Hello YouTube, and welcome to another top 5 video. In this top 5 video I shall be doing my top 5 Christopher Eccleston stories. Now, this has been really hard because Christopher Eccleston was the first Doctor I saw, and series 1 is just brilliant. I've got a soft spot for it because it's a series that introduced me to this wonderful show they call Doctor Who. And well, that's a bit of a lie because I probably would be doing Doctor Who videos if I hadn't have seen Christopher Eccleston. Anyway, yeah, I love all the episodes, even Boomtown. I think it's such a moral story, you know. Could you take someone for a meal and then be their executioner? It's such a moral story. So without further ado, let's look at number 5. So at number 5 I have chosen Aliens of London and World War III. Now, this was the first cliffhanger story I saw, and I was truly captivated. I was like, what is going to happen to the Doctor? What is he going to be alive next week? Is there actually going to be a show? I think the cliffhanger was brilliant. Wonderful idea, using the ideas of ID cards having this sort of electric impulse thing, got electrocute the sort of top people who know about aliens. Then we've got the Raxacopalabatorians themselves, or the Slovene family in this case. They're brilliant. They're a really good design, but they were ruined in the Sarah Jane Adventures. But I won't go there. They work their best. Well, series 1 I think is probably their best sort of time to shine. Yeah, and these two stories show the perspective of what the companion leaves behind, because Rose goes missing for a year, when it's only been 12 hours for Rose, going shop window dummies to the end of the world, and then Victorian London, and then back home for tea. Yeah, so it's just quite a good story actually, and it's just wonderful. At number 4 is the Unquiet Dead. Now this is the story what scared the socks off me. It was just the start for me, when you just got the Mrs. Peace's grandson just sort of mourning, and then the corpse becomes alive and just strangles him, and I just thought it was scary, and the scream of the girl of Mrs. Peace is just scary. And this was the first time Hugh sort of touched my life, really, in the way that I kept on switching on and off just to see what was actually happening. I think using corpses is quite a scary thing because it sort of shaped modern society, because there's so many sort of things going on with sort of zombies, there's zombie games, there's what have you, and stuff like that really, and it's the first historical story of the new revamped Doctor Who, and it's done really well, and it's believable. Charles Dickens is in it, well, not the real Charles Dickens, because that would be quite cool, and it's just wonderful, and Christopher Eccleston is wonderful, balancing the dark and the humour. It's just wonderful. The girl is scary, using corpses, I keep on saying. It's just wonderful. Absolutely like that. I love this story. Okay, at number 3 I have chosen Dalek. Now this is a fantastic story for Christopher Eccleston. This has one of his strongest moments when he confronts the Dalek. Now this story introduces modern audiences to the beloved terrifying pepper pot, which is the Dalek. Yes, now this is a wonderful story for the Doctor and Rose. Now the Doctor shows sheer hatred. He hates the Daleks with a passion for what they did to his people. We're still unsure what the Daleks did. Hopefully that will be explained in the 50th anniversary. And it's just wonderful, because the Dalek shows feelings, and the Doctor doesn't like that, because the Daleks are the only thing they're meant to do is to kill, and the Doctor doesn't like that because it's unnatural for a Dalek to show emotions, and the Doctor's like, well, I've got to kill it. And there's a brilliant line when the Dalek compares the Doctor and the Dalek themselves, we are the same. And there's another line where the Dalek goes, you would make a good Dalek, just saying, why don't you just die? and it just shows that the Doctor can be violent. You know, he's willing to kill one thing to save millions of lives. And just wonderful, especially when Christopher Eccleston confronts the Dalek for the first time. You know, he's scared, but as soon as he knows it's sort of defenseless and can do nothing to him, he's laughing. You know, he's the victor here. You know, but then the Dalek starts to turn and twist his mind into hating what killed his people. Just brilliant performances by Christopher Eccleston and Billy Piper. You know, Billy Piper resurrecting the Dalek, if you like. You know, giving a bit of energy to it. It's just wonderful. It's a wonderful story. I would truly recommend this. Okay, at number 2, I have chosen The Empty Child and The Doctor Dances. This is a brilliant 2-parter. It's well paced, you know, and it, you know, goes along nicely. What a 2-parter should. And there's a brilliant line where it goes, "Just this once, let everybody live. Everybody lives." And it's just a wonderful line. You know, the Doctor's not all about death. You know, there is always there can be lives saved, and using children is quite a scary thing. You know, and gas mask combined equals scariness mashup thing. Yes, we've got a nice little twist. What I wasn't expecting when I first saw this, and I don't think once you've seen it, you sort of get the twist. But it's just a wonderful story, and it introduces Captain Jack. Now, I'm not a huge Captain Jack fan, but I like him in Series 1. Yeah. So at number 1, you've probably guessed this already, and it is Parting of Bad Wolf and Parting of the Ways. This is a brilliant story for Christopher Eccleston to go out on. Now, I like the little twist on all the game shows, like The Weakest Link, you know, and Big Brother, and what have you. It's just a wonderful little twist to sort of British sort of game shows. And the regeneration. Well, I was really confused when that happened. I suppose we, as the audience, especially new fans, were sort of, you know, confused, you know, like Rose would be. This is a bad comparison, but hey, I'm gonna go with it. You know, but we're watching the person we have grown to love over this short amount of time just vanish and suddenly reappear with a new face. As you can see, that's quite a confusing thing for a 7-year-old. When I first saw it, and this story introduces the Emperor Dalek, which was last seen in Evil of the Daleks, and is just a wonderful story to see Christopher Eccleston have that a massive conflict with the Daleks. You know, what we saw in Dalek on a minor scale, but this is where Christopher Eccleston becomes his own. It's a shame that Christopher Eccleston didn't do another series, because I believe that he could have done so much more, and that small little glimpse we got was fantastic, in the words of Christopher Eccleston. Now, if you've seen the BFI panel of the 9th Doctor, the Phil Collinson, the producer, said it's quite nice that he only did 13 episodes, if you look at it this way, in a positive way, but we see the Doctor's lifespan in 13 weeks, we see a whole life cycle, and that's true. You know, you meet up with this strange guy, 12 weeks later, he's gone, and he's a new man. Yes, I hope you've enjoyed this top 5 video. As you can see, I'm a big fan of Christopher Eccleston, because he was the guy who got me into the show, and without him, most YouTubers I don't think would be doing videos, because without him I don't think Doctor Who would be this relaunched success. Yeah, so Christopher Eccleston, you were fantastic. So yeah, thank you for watching, and yeah, I just want to say you were fantastic, and you know what, so was I. That's a quote from Parting of the Ways. Brilliant quote to use, especially when you're going to leave someone's house. Bit of a tip. Oh, that's another thing. If you're going to leave someone's house and they're not a Doctor Who fan, try and use all the regeneration quotes, or use a regeneration quote. So you could use "I don't want to go," or "tear," and then that person's name. That's a nice idea. You could try that. Yeah, thank you for watching, and goodbye.